Hey everybody, and welcome to my third viewing movie review of the new film that is in theaters right now After. Of course, this film is based on the book by Anna Todd, which originally started as Wattpad fan fiction. Of course, the film stars Josephine Langford and Hero Finds Tiffin, who really are the saviors of this film. It's directed by Jenny Gage. It's like I already said, it's based on the book by Anna Todd. And anyway, let's get right down to all this. So anyway, I was kind of muted in my first movie review about this film, but the more that I see it, the more that I find things to like about it. One thing that will never change, no matter how many times I see this film, is just the amazing off-the-charts chemistry and the presence of Josephine Langford and Hero Finds Tiffin. They really are the stars of this movie. They really carry the movie on their shoulders, and given that they are, in some ways, very inexperienced, even though they have been in other films, this could have gone wrong in so many ways. I mean, handing the reins over to these two actors. But pretty much from the word jump, they are amazing in the roles. I mean, they were born to play these roles, or at least how they are written in the film. Because as you know, if you've read the book, you do know that this is not a literal translation. It is an adaptation of the book. A lot of the changes that they make, which again, I will give my full spoiler review sometime this coming week. But for right now, let me just give kind of like my updated thoughts on this thing. Like I said, I really do like this film more and more that I see it. I mean, I do still have, some issues with it. Mainly the editing. The editing will always be one of my issues, one of my big sticking point issues with this film, mainly due to the fact that it just feels rushed. It feels choppy, and it feels like from on high, the mandate came down that said you have to deliver an hour and 40-minute movie. You cannot go over an hour and 40 minutes. And you know what? So they tried to rush and tried to cram in everything that they can, just trying to make that mandate. Because a lot of the times, that's exactly what it feels like. One of the scenes that I've talked about in a couple of my F the Critics videos, kind of, ripping critics' heads off for making fun of this scene, or using this scene as sort of like a sniping way to snipe at the film. One of the scenes that I'm loving every time I see it, and I'm loving it more and more each time I see it, is that in their very first sex scene, in their when they actually finally have sex, they take the time to finally show consent. I mean, that he actually takes the time to actually say to her, "Hey, do you want this? Are you sure you want this? Are you okay?" And like that. That's great, because again, I feel like sometimes now in movies and television, and I think that it's been this way for quite a long time now, that it always feels like they seem to skip over that part. It seems like they go right into the lovemaking in literally almost every film that comes out nowadays, in every TV show that comes out nowadays, that they never stop and just show basic consent. And I think especially where we are as a country right now, with all the problems that we've had recently, with all the stories that you've heard about in the news, with the Time's Up Me Too movement that's been going on, it really is just tears came to my eyes like the first time I saw the film, when I saw that scene. And I mean, I'm just more and more proud of the film every single time I see it, just for that moment. For the most part, I love the music. There is one needle drop in this film that is very on the nose, that is very it is like way too on the nose, and I will talk about that in my spoiler review. Another thing that I appreciated is that there's actually a very controversial element to the book that I feel like they changed for the better in this film. And again, I'll go into this more in my spoiler review. But again, like every time I see the film, I do appreciate that change. I do appreciate the fact that Tessa is made stronger in this film, that she's actually given agency in this film. And it's actually been a little bit disheartening to see like some people complain that the film decided to make Tessa stronger, that the film decided to actually give Tessa agency in this film. I mean, pretty much, I've seen like some tweets pretty much listing off everything that this film, does not have from the book. And one of the things that they were complaining about was Tessa weak. And I was just sitting there like, really? Like, really you're complaining because they actually changed it up and actually made her stronger and actually gave her agency in this book. Um, when I first saw the movie, I was not a big fan of the ending, or particularly the tacked on part of the ending, which I will go into more in the spoiler review. But the more that I see the film, the more times that I see the film, I start to appreciate the ending a little bit more each time. Of course, there are scenes in the film or in the trailer that are not in the film, including one thing that I will talk about in the spoiler in the complete spoiler review, that I was like, okay, if you're gonna keep cutting back to this person, then you could have put this shot in the movie. Because otherwise, what's the point? I mean, if we're not going to see this particular moment from the trailer, then why even keep cutting back to this person? Because I kept going like, okay, do this, okay, wait a minute, they're not doing it. Wait a minute, where's that scene? Because again, I saw the perfect spot for it to be in, and again, they didn't put it in there. This is definitely a film where the ending, and I will talk about this a little bit more in the spoiler review, where the ending does pretty much feel like we're not sure if we're going to get a sequel, where we got to kind of end this in a way that, kind of wraps everything up in case we don't continue, which based on the amount of money that's making overseas and the fact that to a certain degree it is overperforming here in the US, I am pretty damn confident they are getting a sequel. I will be very surprised if they don't get a sequel. And one of the things that one of the producers has promised is that they will be a little bit closer to the book with the sequel, that they will include more lovemaking scenes in the sequel. And so again, that's another reason to go see the film, to actually go give this film your money, so we can hope and pray that they give us a more accurate sequel. But again, one of the big things that I will always say is that this is not a literal translation. This is an adaptation. And again, I feel like a lot of fans, okay, you know what, I'm not going to attack the fans here. You know what, I've already ranted and raved about people who did that, so I'm not going to do that here. But to me personally, as a fan, I loved some of the changes that they made, including, like I said, I'll go into something a little bit more in the full spoiler review, that I actually appreciated one of the changes that they made. And even Anna Todd even said, yeah, even I got to look at that and say, yeah, why did I ever do that? Like, I don't know where my head was at when I did that. I don't know why I did that. One criticism that I think that will never change for me personally is that well, again, it goes back to the length of time, is that when you shorten this film, when you shorten the film to this extreme of a short length, and you don't put more time into this, you start to lose all your supporting characters. And again, like, the character development was just not there for anybody else who was not named Hardin and Tessa. And that's just the truth, that everybody else just seemed like they were just there to play their types. They were just there, and sometimes horrendously, just to bring in, just for like Peter Gallagher or Jennifer Beals, to come in like one scene, even though we saw more scenes of Peter Gallagher in the trailer. Yeah, he's just in there for one scene. I think that he's criminally underused. Again, I mean, I'm trying to keep this non-spoiler because, like I said, a bigger, more spoiler-filled review is coming sometime next week, either Tuesday or Wednesday. I mean, I kind of don't want to give you guys a schedule on that, but it is sometime next week. I will continue to go see this film because, you know what, I'm loving it every time I go see it. I'm just finding more and more things to like. And yes, look, it's a flawed movie. But like a more popular channel, like a bigger channel always says, no movie is without sins. And this film does have some sins. Like I said, there is like a needle drop music choice that that is just a little too on the nose. I won't say what it is here, but you might know which one I'm talking about. But one of the reasons to go see this film, like the main reason to go see this film, are these two actors. I mean, they completely knocked this out of the park. It was actually surprising to me how much they carried this film. It was actually surprising to me how much I actually cared about this relationship. It was surprising to me by how much chemistry they had. Because again, after you sit through, 3 films of 50 Shades, you kind of start to wonder, like, oh God, are people ever going to, find the right casting and are they going to have chemistry again? And the truth of the matter is that they literally they lucked out with these 2 actors. I hope for their sakes that this thing gets a sequel, because I really do want to see these 2 continue to play these roles. I want to see where they take them. I want to be able to see them have a long, prosperous career, because you know what? They did more than enough to deserve it. This was an A++ performances in this film out of these 2 actors. I mean, they were truly amazing. So yeah, in my original review, I gave this thing a B+. I'm jumping this thing up to an A because, again, like I said, I think the positives are starting to far outweigh the negatives, and I will talk more in my spoiler review. So jump down to the comment section below. Let me know what you think. As always, thank you so much for watching. Remember to click the like button. Remember to subscribe. I'll see you later. After Naders. Take care, y'all.